Best things to do on Oahu. In this video, we'll go over the most popular ones. You can't go to Oahu and not visit Waikiki Beach. With beautiful white sand beaches and a crazy diamond head backdrop, it's not hard to see why this is going to be the most popular on the list. And what better way to start your vacation than to go surfing where modern surfing actually originated from. There are several surf schools located right on Waikiki Beach. They are about $50 an hour, but if you check Groupon, they do have them discounted sometimes for 50% off. Other adventurous things to do at Waikiki Beach: go diving off the Waikiki wall. I didn't have the guts to do this, but I saw some of the locals timing the crest of the wave to make sure that they don't hit the bottom of the ocean floor. I wouldn't recommend doing this unless you have a lot of experience. If you're more of the Netflix and chill kind of person, then lounging is going to be perfect for you. Go to Kualoa Beach. It's located right adjacent to Waikiki Beach. There is a break wall and the waters are extremely shallow. They're about 3 feet deep. So you could pretty much just sit in the water and watch the sunset over Diamond Head. For your Facebook and Instagram posts, the first obvious one is Duke Kahanamoku. Another cool place is the Makua and Kila statue. That's a little bit further down the Waikiki Beach. And in between the Outrigger Waikiki and Royal Hawaiian Center is Surfboard Alley. Another really fun thing to do is just stroll Kalakaua Avenue. It's just like walking down the Las Vegas Strip. There's so many street performers and things to do that you really can't go wrong. Also on Waikiki Beach, they have a lot of free shows. They usually have performers or singers at the Moana Surfrider Resort. Another hidden gem is the Kualoa Beach Hula Show. It's right on the beach, and it's open to the public for free. The stage is set up so you could pretty much get a good view whether you sit or stand. Showtime is from 6:30 to 7:30, but during COVID times, there's no scheduled shows until further notice. And lastly, there's something about watching the sunset on Waikiki Beach that's like a bucket list type of thing to do, so make sure to set aside 20 minutes for that. The second most popular thing to do is go to Diamond Head State Monument. It's 2 miles away from Waikiki Beach. It's open from Thursday to Sunday, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. As for entry fees, they did raise the prices in October 2020. It's now $5 a person and $10 per vehicle. There is a food truck and gift shop inside the monument, but it is kind of pricey, so make sure to plan ahead. At the beginning of the trail, there is a bathroom and water fountain, so make sure to use that to fill up your water bottles. And there is no bathroom at the top of the mountain, so make sure to use the one right at the beginning. The entire hike, round trip, should take about an hour and a half to 2 hours. To reach the summit, the very highest point, if you didn't stop, it should take about 20 minutes for the average hiker. As you get closer to the top, you're going to have to shimmy through the opening of the pillbox, but once you get past that, you'll have some of the most beautiful views of Oahu. The best time to go is in the morning, anytime before 9 a.m. The reason being is because all the tours start arriving at that time, and also the parking lot does fill up. Another really popular thing to do is go snorkeling at Hanauma Bay. Hanauma Bay got really affected by COVID, so here are my tips for going there. The bay is now open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and they're closed every Monday and Tuesday. It used to be open at 6 a.m., but now, just due to COVID, everything has changed, so make sure to look at the website. The parking entrance fee used to be $7.50, now it's $12. There is a shuttle that takes you there from Waikiki Beach. If you plan on driving, there are only 300 stalls and it does fill up early, or usually around 7 a.m. Once you arrive, there is a 9-minute video that you do have to watch to help keep the bay safe. And then after that, there is a pretty steep hill that can get kind of tiring. So there is a tram that'll take you up or down, and it's I think $1.25. They do have a snack bar located on the premises, and they do have snorkel rentals, but not life vest rentals. Another really popular thing to do on Oahu is go to Pearl Harbor. It's about a 20-minute drive away from Waikiki Beach. It's open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And just a quick tip, they don't allow any backpacks inside the memorial, so you will have to store your bags in a storage room for $5. Once you get inside, there are 4 separate museums. 3 of them are paid, and the only one that's free is the USS Arizona, which is going to be on the left-hand side of the memorial. Visiting the USS Arizona is going to take about an hour, starting with a 23-minute video, followed by about a 20-minute boat ride. And since there are only limited seats on the boat, and they only run every 30 minutes, I would highly recommend that you do reserve your seats. You can go ahead and do that online, but there is a $1 service charge.
Pearl Harbor witnessed the dawn and women fought and died side by side.
The next closest museum to the Arizona Memorial is the USS Bowfin, which includes a submarine and exhibit. The general entry fee is $15, and I would plan about an hour to visit the entire museum. Walking through the submarine, it's extremely interesting to be able to see the torpedo room, the living quarters, and the engine room, but I will give you the heads up that it is very tight quarters and that there are very steep stairs. As for the exhibit, I didn't spend too much time in there, but I did find the anatomy of the missiles pretty interesting. If you plan on visiting the USS Missouri, you're going to take a free 5-minute shuttle that's going to take you over to Ford Island. The general admission price for the ship is about $30, and included in that price is a free 35-minute guided tour, but they only do take you around the main deck. I think one of the highlights of the ship is being able to see where the Japanese surrender ceremony was hosted. If you want to visit the lower decks, I would recommend about 30 minutes to an hour and a half to visit the entire ship. And just a heads up, the ship does also have steep stairs just like the USS Bowfin. And the last museum, which is also located on Ford Island, is the Aviation Museum. The general admission price is $25. The Aviation Museum is composed of 2 hangars and 1 outdoor exhibit. I would recommend about an hour to an hour and a half to visit the entire museum. Another really popular thing to do is go to the Dole Plantation. It's about a 40-minute drive away from Waikiki Beach, and they're open every day except Wednesdays. There is free parking, but it tends to fill up, especially during peak seasons, so plan to get there a little early. And also, there is free entry to the general plantation grounds, but the attractions do have entry fees. The Dole Plantation has 3 separate attractions, a maze, a train, and a garden. And you could buy a package combo deal to save you a few bucks, but to be honest, the most popular is going to be the maze. The pricing for all 3 of them have gone up since I last went. The maze is now $8.25. I would allocate about 30 minutes to about 45 minutes to get through the maze. And the train tour is now $12, and it's about a 20-minute ride around a few pineapple fields. A lot of people have complained that you don't get to see a lot of pineapples growing. So my recommendation is that the train is only really just a novelty type of thing. And the last attraction is the garden. It's $7.25 for the entry. A lot of people have complained that there's not much to see inside the garden. To be honest, there's a free well-manicured pathway with a bunch of cool looking pineapples. I think that's good enough. And lastly is the restaurant. A lot of people have reviewed that the Dole Plantation is basically a tourist trap, and for the most part I do agree. So the only thing that's worth it on the Dole Plantation is going to be the restaurant with the Dole Whip. And my suggestion is that if you do want to get a Dole Whip, don't use the entry that goes directly through the gift shop. If you go around the side of the building, there is a side entrance that leads directly to the restaurant, and the line on that side is a lot shorter. The next most popular thing to do is go to the Polynesian Cultural Center. It's located on the north side of Oahu. It's about an hour drive away from Waikiki Beach. The Polynesian Cultural Center does offer transportation from Waikiki to the center via motor coach for $30, but if you are planning on taking your own vehicle, they do have free all-day parking. Once you arrive in Laie, you're going to have to navigate your way through the Hukilau Marketplace for the ticket booth, the Polynesian Cultural Center entrance, and the Ha Breath of Life show entrance. And a good tip, if you do know that you're going to the Polynesian Cultural Center, book your tickets online 10 days in advance and you will get 10% off your entire purchase. The most common question that people ask is which ticket package that they should get, but there are essentially only 3 different options. The first one is just general admission to the Cultural Center. The second one is just general admission to the Ha Breath of Life show. And then the third one is a package deal, where you would be able to have general admission to the Cultural Center, the show, as well as a luau before the show. If you are going with the package deal, there are 3 variations that are offered, and the biggest main difference between the packages is having a private guide with you and reserved seatings throughout the entire day. If you are going to go guideless for your day at the center, one tip that I did read online that I implemented, which ended up working really well, was to take the boat ride from the front all the way to the back of the center, and then work your way in a zigzag pattern from the back to the front, watching all the shows. There are so many things to do at the Cultural Center that it's pretty much impossible to get it done all in one day. So these are my tips that I would recommend. There are 6 different villages, and each village basically has a mini museum where you could see all the artifacts of that culture. Then there's either going to be music, a show, or a performance. And then lastly, each village has its own activities where you can participate. What I did was prioritize the show times for each village, and then use the activities or the museums as filler if there was extra time to spare.
One round, you can never do it again.
One really popular attraction at the Cultural Center is the canoe pageant. I would recommend getting there 30 minutes before the show starts and sitting on the Samoan village side right underneath the trees, because it does tend to get very hot due to the show starting right in the middle of the day. If you do end up getting the Ali'i Luau package, the dinner starts around 5 o'clock, and it's basically around the same time when the rest of the cultural center is winding down to close. And then after dinner, if you are staying for the Ha Breath of Life show, you are going to have some time to kill, so things that I would recommend doing is either doing the temple's visitor tour, the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame, or just strolling around the Hukilau Marketplace. The Ha Breath of Life show is a really well put together show, so just sit back and relax because there's really no better way to cap off the end of your day with this absolutely incredible performance. Kualoa Ranch. This was one of my personal favorite things to do on Oahu, just because I think you really do get a unique experience. So Kualoa Ranch is about a 40-minute drive away from Waikiki Beach, and my recommendation is to get there first thing in the morning because a lot of tourists do come by later on in the day. They do have a lot of separate attractions that are very interesting. If you do have the Go card, you can pay $10 to get an additional upgrade to the movie tours, or you can get a $3 credit for the ATV or horseback riding. I did the movie tour, which is a 90-minute tour on an open-windowed bus with a tour guide. The tours do run whether rain or shine, so just be aware of that. But overall, this attraction was really enjoyable, especially if you're a movie buff. But even if you aren't, there are a lot of cool things to see. It's very interesting to see all of the movies that were filmed on location. And even if you don't know any of the movies or aren't really familiar with some of these movies, just being able to see the landscape, it's pretty impressive to see, and it's just a unique experience within itself.
These trees you see to my right, these trees are what we call Oahu.
And one of the coolest things to do on this movie tour, especially if you're a Jurassic Park fan, is that you stop and get to take pictures where the Gallimimus and T-Rex scene was filmed.
All the way up here to where it's sitting right now. This is the same scene where Henry Fox's vehicle scratched that man. Now, that's the right phrase we're going to learn today is Buiho simply means until we meet again. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Also, there is a restaurant and gift shop, and the gift shop does have a few movie props, so if you have any interest in that, it's pretty cool to see some of the Jurassic Park movie props. Hiking in Oahu. So these are my top 4 favorite places to hike, and they do range in difficulty from beginner to advanced. The first hike is Coco Crater, and it's about a 25-minute drive away from Waikiki Beach. And I think by far, this was one of the most difficult hikes that I had to do in Oahu. It looks deceiving because it's a simple straight shot up the side of the volcano, but to be honest, once you get towards the top, you're going to be completely gassed. And I do have to warn you that there are portions of this track where there are 5 to 10 feet drops, so just be careful of that. But once you reach the top, you're really going to see some of the most beautiful views of Oahu. If you do plan on doing this hike, I would say give yourself about 2 to 3 hours for the entire hike. And also, one last tip, as strenuous as it is going up, I would say be extremely careful going on the way down, because I don't know how many times I either slipped or misplaced my footing and just completely ate it. The next popular place to hike in Oahu is the Makapu'u Lighthouse Trail. It's about a 30-minute drive away from Waikiki Beach. I would highly recommend getting there before noon because the parking lot is extremely small, so it is very difficult to find parking. The Makapu'u Trail is one of the easier hikes because it does have a paved path all the way to the very top, and it should take you about 20 to 30 minutes to get to the very top. And here's a tip, halfway through the hike there is a trail that goes to the Makapu'u tide pools. And here's another tip, if you do have a little extra time, keep going down the 72 freeway and head towards the Makapu'u Beach Park. It's a very picturesque beach and it never seems to get that crowded. Another popular place to hike that's a little closer towards Waikiki Beach is Manoa Falls. It's about a 20-minute drive away from Waikiki Beach. And the entire hike should take about 2 hours. But just a heads up, there is a parking fee of $5, so just be aware of that. I really enjoyed this hike. It was kind of like hiking through Jurassic Park. In terms of difficulty, it wasn't too bad, but I will say just be careful after it rains because it will get extremely muddy and you will be slipping a lot. And just a bonus tip, the Lion Arboretum is within walking distance of the falls, but just be sure to not make the same mistake that I did and go there on the day that it's closed. And the last popular hike in Oahu is the Pillbox hike. If you're looking for a hike with views, this is the hike. You're going to get absolutely gorgeous views of Waikiki Beach on this hike. Pillbox hike is about a 40-minute drive away from Waikiki Beach. The bad thing about this hike is that it's going to be extremely hard to find parking. You do have to drive around the neighborhood looking for an empty spot on the street. Once you find parking, the entrance to Pillbox is a tiny entrance off to the side of the street, so make sure you don't miss it. And the beginning portion of this hike, it's kind of like an obstacle course where you have to use the ropes to kind of shimmy your way up the side of the mountain. But once you reach the upper portion of the mountain, it's pretty much smooth sailing, and now you can just sit back and enjoy the views. And once you're done with the hike, just head over to Waikiki Beach since you're in the area, and just jump in the ocean for a cool down. And those were the top things to do in Oahu. Thanks for watching.